Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. And I've got a fantastic guest for you today, Stoy Hall. He's a top 100 financial advisor leading women, minorities, LGBTQ, and he's been listed as top 100 on Investopedia. And he's going to talk to us all about helping business owners on their wealth journey, bread and butter topics, retirement, financial planning, investing. And so I'm happy to welcome Stoy to the show. Welcome, Stoy.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm excited. Business owners, I love talking to you. You are my business, so I love it.
Yeah, like I said, you're no stranger. So talk about, kind of you lead Black Mammoth, you lead Kālā Capital, you're founder, fund manager. Talk about your work, what you do, and how the audience can benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. So Black Mammoth is my bread and butter. It's a modern family office, and I'm coining that term of most people don't know what a family office is. A private family office is what most all rich people have, and I mean rich, like the ultra rich, right? Like billions of dollars. They have these because they don't have time to do all the nuances that we have to do in life, right? And that is, pay your bills, set up your travel, where my money goes in and out, buy my vehicles, houses, all of those mundane things, mundane, right? All of those things that you don't love to do. That's what family offices do. They're your right hand. They're there to protect you when things get tough and when things pop up. And so I wanted to start a firm exactly like that, except for not for the ultra wealthy, right? Not for the ones that have millions and billions of dollars to either pay for. I wanted to modernize it and take that to the everyday business owner. And so I work with minority and women business owners, and that's what we do. We take off all of that other pressure off your shoulders so you can focus on two things: your family and those that you love, and then what you're really good at in your business, right? Because some of us are really good at selling widgets and some of us are good at running the business, but usually we're not good at both. And so we fill in those gaps for you. And that's what we're at Black Mammoth.
Yeah. And what's really interesting is I love this because like I said, I've had a lot of financial planning and advisors and they're actually niching down. So I love how you're niching down to kind of give the I would say, I would say just, upper middle class kind of this you're democratizing and giving them access. Talk about some of the challenges in your clients face that you don't see in the rich, the ultra rich, all of that.
Yeah, it's a very good question. And the thing is, they all have the same issues. We all have the same issues. That's one thing that on my podcast, No BS Wealth, I talk about a lot is no one has everything together. There's not a person on this earth that is super organized and knows what's going on. It just so happens to be, are they bigger or lesser issues, right? Can they be fixed with, how much money I have in my bank account or not? That's usually the difference. And really it comes down to first is just organization. When and how much money do I have coming in? And when and where does it go? Most people are either afraid to talk about those or actually truly figure those out. Or two, for us business owners, there is so many moving parts. You don't know what that true number is, right? Because of how complex businesses can be. And that's the first and foremost thing. Like everyone has that. That's the anxiety we all feel. We just don't know what's happening. And that's usually what we come in to do first is let's just figure out what's happening. And then we can kind of build from there of what you want to do, what experiences you want to have.
Yeah, I love that. I just kind of get a overview, and what's interesting is I have this physician colleague as well. He and his wife they had like over $1 million in student loan debt, and they were making like good six figure, and then they forced themselves to look at their statements and just kind of get the lay of the land. And when they're starting out, they were broke. So the other, kind of talk about just in terms of spending, financial behaviors. What kind of emotions and factors play a role in decision making and that contribute to detrimental financial behaviors?
Yeah. Ultimately, everyone's talked about this a lot. We've all heard it, right? Don't make emotional decisions with your money, right? Separate your emotions when it comes to financial decisions. Hell, I used to do that early in my career too. I used to say the same thing. That's impossible. The human body is not built to make emotionless decisions, naturally, anyways. And so when it comes to money, the first thing you got to understand is your relationship with that money. What do I mean by that is money is a tool, right? It is to be used by you to further your life, whether that's in experiences, memories, business, you name it. It is not designed for you to obsess over and have it rule you, right? And have it make decisions over your personal self. Once you do that and you can grasp that, and the best way to do that is, again, first figure out what's coming in, what's going out. Then, thanks to my buddy Coda Garrett, you then sign joy points to those items of expenses, right? For me and my family, we're talking about this off air a little bit, is Hawaii. We go every year. We know that expense is going to be there. It doesn't matter because that brings us so much joy, right? And you got to figure those things out for you and your family. But if you focus on the experiences of life, the joy of life, it makes life a lot happier. And actually, ultimately, those decisions with money are not emotion anymore, right? The emotion is I have joy, but that means I'm not going to go spend my money on, a brand new Ferrari, right? Like I'm going to make those right decisions because I just want to spend the money on the things that bring me joy.
Yeah. I really like that idea, just kind of separate emotions and, recently, doing a lot of personal development work and just kind of, when you're triggered or just kind of irritated or you're angry, just kind of set that aside, just let time pass, could be, a few seconds to an hour or whatever before you come back in, what's interesting is people, money is an idea. It's just basically now it's numbers on the screen. It used to be paper and ink, and then people are just kind of killing people over it and stealing and it's just kind of like this. It's just it's a tool. So kind of the next question I have is we have really crisis of financial literacy, among other problems. And so what steps can individuals take to improve their financial knowledge? Obviously, it's not in the school. I know MBAs that are not very financially literate. So, and you also have a free ebook guide. Kind of talk about that.
Yeah. So overall, a decade ago, financial literacy was even more so a problem because there was no access to information. Luckily, over the last decade and plus, we've become more ability to get access, right? Luckily for us, the SEC allows us to do more podcasts and social media and TikToks. But also the pandemic, I love it for one thing for our industry is it took us more virtual. It took us out of the paper and brought us into the digital world for once. So it's now about when you have time and you want to learn, you have the ability to figure it out somewhere. I would always say, obviously, I'm a CFP, so go find people that have the licenses and learn from them and not the random TikTokers or the YouTubers, Instagrammers that are telling you get rich tomorrow. But find us and just start to listen and learn because it's really not as complex as it sounds. The terms that we throw out there, but it is complex in terms of your emotions and for you to understand and to change your behavior because most of us do not have good financial behavior. We have poor financial behavior, but it's because we just don't know how to, like you said, step back, take a breath when things are going on, and then make the right decision. And that's what a lot of my ebook is based around, right? Most of what I do is more around the emotions, what you can do before we can even do the physical steps. Because if you talk to any financial planner, most of them, they're going to give you a financial plan, right? You're going to develop this financial plan and it is set in stone. That's kind of what you follow. It's not realistic though. By the time we've sat down with you, created a financial plan, something's changed. You've either gotten better behavior, something's happened in your life, you're having a kid, you're moving a job. Should be in an ongoing process and you learning continuously. Hell, I'm still learning continuously every day. So if I'm still learning, there's no way your financial plan is set in stone.
Yeah, it's like education and it's like being able to read and it's like how you apply those skills and knowledge and obviously the financial world is changing, the concept of money and how we use it to transact and store and invest all of that. What I really love is talking about this kind of the underserved and we talked about access and kind of talk about how financial advisors can better serve the women, minorities, LGBTQ, all these kind of marginalized populations.
The best way is for us that are those demographics, right? is to get in the industry and be louder. That is ultimately the money game is a very old white guy industry. Let's just be real, call it what it is. And there's not a lot of anybody else. And so the rest of us need to be louder. We need to stick together so that way when people do look for or need an advisor or planner, they have access to like one of us that can access all of us, right? Because right now, usually typically how it goes is either your mom, your dad, your parents, or someone had a guy, so they're your guy. It's a banker that has been around since the beginning of time is your guy. Or you hear something, in the media about, the next Fidelity or Schwab guy, and you end up just calling a 1-800 number, and that ends up being your person. When nowadays money has flipped, relationships have flipped, everything is changing to more one-on-one. Like, I'm going to know you, I'm going to be part of your family and know you in and out to help you with your decision making. And so now you're seeing everyone, I don't want to call it like niching down, but technically niching down to those they love to work with that are them and represent them. So that way they all have the same similar conversation. And now I'm creating a community where if you came to me and was like, hey, I'm a physician, this is what I do, boom, I already got two buddies right now that work specifically with physicians, right? If you don't fit my model, I got you. Let's meet with them and move on. And that's what we need to do to move forward as a industry.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like that. And just kind of, we need people such as yourself getting on podcasts, speaking, blogs, channels, social media. The other question is, because you talk about this impact of philanthropy and giving back. And so, what role does philanthropy play in your definition of true wealth? And share some stories of how your clients have incorporated this into their financial plans.
So the definition of true wealth is just happiness and joy and the ability to live life on your terms while giving back, right? And so to do that, obviously money is a tool, but it's all focused on what do you care more about? Do you care more about money or people? Right? If you care more about money, well, then you don't care about any of those things, and I don't want to talk to you. If you care more about people, then you're going to align yourself with giving back to others because you have enough, right? I know personally, I don't need to be a billionaire. I don't know what I would do with all that money besides give it away because I've already bought everything, right? It only takes about 6 months to buy everything you need. But ability to give back to others, and that just doesn't mean, monetarily. It means your time. It means being there. And for a lot of us, it means creating content, right? Because a
Yeah.
lot of people know who you are and follow you and love what you say, but they just don't hear it enough. So what you talked about with blogs and all the social media posts and podcasts and all of those things as part of being able to give back. And that's what we build into my clientele base. All of them love to give back some way or another, some monetarily, some through charity, some through church, a lot through content, and just wanting to connect really cool people with other really cool people to help lift them up.
Yeah. Yeah, really like you were talking about, just money as a tool. And I think here in the West, because I talked to a lot of people, in Europe, and their concept of money is a little bit different because they're more of a socialized system. But here in capitalist, we associate money and income with status and, the ability to buy things and kind of keep that economic wheel turning, leading to the rat race. So the other question is, I'm always on the lookout for trends, and obviously the concept of work has really dramatically shifted over the last 4 years, and also the concept of income is also going to change as well. Because so how do you see economic landscape changing in terms of income, work? What should we be doing to prepare? And then we have what are some emerging trends in wealth management that people should be aware of?
Yeah. There's two trends happening and they're two different people. Retail, everyone, we're called retail. Like in my world, we have retail and institutions, right? Retail is us, everyday people, the working class, etc. Institutions are your ultra wealthy or the companies, like the big corporations. There's two trends happening and they're not happening in the right direction. Okay. So you've had us that went through pandemic that wants to work remotely, have more freedom of life, more freedom of my hours, obviously getting value for what my work is, and then doing a lot more traveling, a lot more memory banked type things, not necessarily throwing everything into your retirement plans. Okay. That's the trend that is moving right now currently for the retail or the normal day people. Institutions are going, oh crap, we're losing control. And so now we need to hone in this work from home thing. And you're seeing a lot of CEOs move back to in the office. You're trying to have people live within a geographic area now, even if they're remote, still stay within these 4 states, 5 states, right? You're starting to see the condension coming for a couple of reasons. One, because power and control, they love that. Two, they have all of these commercial properties and buildings that they've put so much money into that are not being used. And the one thing you don't mess with institutions is their money. And so they're going to say, I'm losing all of this money and have all of this room, and I can't offload it onto, Joe Schmo because they're too big. So I'm going to make sure my team or my corporations or whatever going back to utilizing it, right? So I can capitalize on that time and their value of that point in time. So right now we're actually seeing like two kind of opposite trends. And where do I see that ending up? Some type of hybrid situation, but it's gonna take a little more time of, people our age and our generation to get into the higher up positions for them to really look at the data and say, people are more efficient in this hybrid model than they are being in the office, right? Now, I'm not a proponent for everyone work from home either. I don't think that's good for just humanity. I love to talk to people. I know that us as humans, we love to interact. So I think there needs to be some type of hybrid approach. But in the long run, that's what we're going to see. And that's kind of what you want to, circle back to with the wealth management movement as well. We're going away from everything being AUM based, which is called assets under management. Someone charges you a fee and takes care of your investments. Investments, again, is money, and money is just a tool. And so we're moving towards this holistic, more financial planning. I'm deeming it modern family office, where we're here with you and your emotions and making those day-to-day decisions. So the trend to moving towards that aligns more with people taking more control over their lives, of where they want to go in their emotions, which is phenomenal because that's what we are. We're human beings. So we need to operate more like humans.
Yeah, I love that. And kind of along those lines, because you talked about you kind of hinted to kind of exiting out of the system, and a lot of a lot of people, they've decided, I don't want to work for a corporation, I don't want to work for a corrupt CEO. I want to go out and really make an impact like the work that you're doing. And so you're seeing people like take remote jobs and become like self-employed and solopreneurs and building businesses, kind of shifting away. The other thing is, a lot of people, Gen Z in particular, they want to exit. They don't trust banks, and they want something alternative. So in my parents and grandparents generation, that was gold, and then kind of have your own business. Now, a lot of Gen Zs, they don't trust the stock market, so they're, and I don't know if you've gotten questions around digital assets, particularly like Bitcoin, and just kind of people, just holding that, as kind of just like dollar cost. And I don't know if you have thoughts on that.
Yeah. Ultimately, we need to have a banking function, right? Like you need to be able to have a banking function. I'm not saying banks are great or credit unions are great as is, right? I don't agree to that, but you need to have a centralized or something that is more of a banking system, that you can go get hard cash with, right? So I'm going to tell everyone that you got to have that. You can't just be fully digital, yet in this world, right? There's a lot of issues with that. But those that are, focusing on Bitcoin, I've got a lot of connections in that space, a lot of advisors that are doing that. And really my advice to that is, if you're comparing it, like you're saying, hey, I don't want to do the stock market because I don't trust it. That is not the equivalent to Bitcoin. I mean, like you can't say, hey, I don't trust the stock market, but I'll go do Bitcoin. Okay. Bitcoin doesn't have the back end to support it yet, right? We don't have the history. It doesn't have any, actual corporate assets to back it, none of those things. So comparing those is a bad idea. They all have their own buckets. And
Yeah.
in my opinion, you need to be in all of them. You need to be in real estate, hard real estate assets. You need to be in the stock market. You need to be in, predominantly Bitcoin right now. You need to be in those cryptos. You need to be investing in other businesses. And most importantly, you need to be investing back into yourself. Your own mental and physical health and your personal development has a better and higher ROI, return on your investment, than almost anything else across the board. So
Yeah.
if you're taking care of yourself, all that other stuff will fall in line and it won't matter as much, right? And I always say this quote on almost every podcast I'm on, including my own. I don't care if you can get me $1 billion return, if I have $0 to invest, that $1 billion return is still zero. Right. And so for all those worrying about investments and where my money's going and all of that, the most important part is how much and when can I put money into that investment, not necessarily how much that investment can get me. Because again, $1 billion return times zero is still zero.
Yeah, which is really interesting because I had another guest, very similar, and he was talking about thinking of yourself as a VC, just like, VCs, they allocate like, to 20 things, 19 may go bust, but that one thing, and you have to kind of think about, like, allocation, now it's like, first they say 1%, now they're saying like 5%, but, kind of to these more, newer assets to kind of, hedge your portfolio is almost like this. In the past, it was like the 60/40. That's dead now, but, how can people contact you and follow you and reach out to you and get some ideas and information and services?
Yeah, absolutely. Find me everywhere. I'm on, name a social media platform, I'm on it, except for Reddit because they kicked me off. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all Twitter, everything, right? So you can find at Black Mammoth, you can find Stoy Hall, or you can find No BS Wealth, which is my podcast. Any which way you communicate, it'll come back to me somewhere. So go ahead and reach out. And my only ask for everyone is not necessarily to follow and like and share and do all those things, is to comment and communicate or DM me. I don't care. But I know everyone has questions. I know everyone has a situation they want to know about. We're here to answer those. Either me, my team, or those other experts that I know as well. We're here, and that's what we want. Our job and our mission is to make sure that this conversation around money can be made publicly, can be made where you're just talking about it every day, as opposed to being it so secret and private. Because when that happens, then good things don't happen. So just talk to us. We're here.
I love that. And I really enjoyed this conversation. And for the audience, be sure to check out Stoy's socials, like and follow his podcast, reach out to him. And thanks so much for coming on.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.